You know I'm one of a kind, or so I've been told. No matter where we go, I know we're gonna make it. No matter where we go, I know we're not alone. We face it all cause now we know that we can take it. We face it all cause we go big or we go home. Dance like you made it, you found it all. This is paradise. Dance like you made it, you found it all. This is paradise. This is paradise. This is paradise.
Yo!
Hello?
Don't be afraid to let go, just a little bit more. Taking the heavenly glow, we've come to adore. No matter where we go, I know we're gonna make it. No matter where we go, I know we're not alone. We face it all cause now we know that we can take it. We face it all cause we go big or we go home. Dance like you made it, you found it all. This is paradise. Dance like you made it, you found it all. This is paradise. This is paradise. This is paradise.
What's up, people? I came here early to talk to you people.
Awesome. Awesome. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Oh.
Fire to the herbs and living fire.
intoxicated, I'm always hoping I can drown my sorrows, but I love that bitter taste. So I'm addicted to you. Visions of you. Come closer, 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 closer. Come closer, 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 closer. Visions of you. Half past 9 and I can't see straight. I'm hoping that I'll make it tomorrow, but right now I can't feel my pace. I'm intoxicated, I'm always hoping I can drown the sorrows, but I love that bitter taste. Half past 9 and I can't see straight. I'm hoping that I'll make it tomorrow, but right now I can't feel my face. I'm intoxicated, I'm always hoping I can drown my sorrow, but I love that bitter taste.
Visions of you.
Come closer. Closer, visions of you. Half past 9 and I can't see straight. I'm hoping that I'll make it tomorrow, but right now I can't feel my pace. I'm intoxicated, I'm always hoping I can drown the sorrows, but I love that bitter taste.
Visions of you.
Man, you need some headphones, bro.
You know I said Jeff. Say it's time. You know I said Jeff.
Good evening.
Hey, Benny.
I need to get better lights in this room.
Yeah.
Always looks a little bit too ominous. I never realize until the camera turns on. Although I did get some smart bulbs. I thought I'd try like boy colors, but that also doesn't look too great. Like, no, it's no good.
What time does it get dark there?
So maybe like 4:30 or something. In the depths of winter, it's like 3 p.m. and it's
Oh
just
God.
horrific. I remember I used to work somewhere in the city, and I'd cycle to work and back, and I'd leave the house and it was pitch black, and then I'd leave work and it was pitch black, and there was no windows in the office, and it was just like it's just turned into a
That's
mole.
horrible.
Yeah, but that's no more. Now I get to look at a lovely wall and out of my window.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks, Cody. Okay, let's
Thank
see.
you. I see we're recording as well for the Magic Minutes. This can be. I'm excited to be able to use that actually. Nice.
Hmm. Is Chris in here?
He's in his office right now, but let me see if I can invite him. I'll go knock on his door. I'll be 1 minute. I'm just
Okay.
gonna walk through the office. Oh, you made me leave.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving week if you're in the US.
Happy what is it? Turkey deep frying day?
I don't think a lot of people deep fry their turkeys.
Oh, okay.
Although
I
I
thought you guys told
think
me a lie.
one person who tried.
Okay,
You've
well, from
seen
what
lots
some-
of
from
videos
what you
about
guys
deep
were saying,
frying
it sounded like
because
everyone.
people. You see
Oh,
lots of videos about people deep frying because it's a great way to create an explosion.
Yeah, it's a great way to put your family in danger.
Yeah,
I'm deep frying a turkey.
I
and I will
smoke my
post photos for you
turkeys
guys.
here
Oh,
in Utah,
wow.
but I used to roast them.
That sounds
Is
good.
anyone in this room deep frying their turkey? Ah, here I was thinking that's just the done thing, and everyone did it. I was wondering what was wrong with the oven.
Okay, I think we should get started. I'm gonna ping Chris because he seems to be.
Yeah, let's get cracking. There's no answer at his office, so I think he's probably, I don't know, just
Okay.
away from his desk right now.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thanks again for joining us here in Rome. If you face any technical issues, just drop it in the chat and Cody will help to resolve them. We have a shorter part of the agenda dedicated to proposal presentations, but a longer part that's hopefully dedicated to council discussion that Wilder will be leading. But to get started, usually we start with Chris. He's not here. Benny, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah, go on then. I don't know if it'll be as much vim and vigor as Chris, but we'll start with our normal message of, ultimately, Voi is Italian for you all. And this is your chain, not our chain, the foundation. We are essentially just glorified caretakers or catalysts to try and essentially bootstrap the ecosystem of the network. But it's you guys, in the audience, but also anyone watching, anyone out who is either a node runner, a Voyager, a developer. This is your network, ultimately. And you get out what you put in. It's very meritocratic. And at the end of the day, we want it to be owned by the community. We want you guys to take it to new heights and to make it what you want it to be, ultimately. So I think that'll probably. Oh, Shanti's left. but that's pretty much all I'll say on that matter. And yeah, just always keep in mind that any value you add is net positive, not only to yourself but everyone in the community.
Thanks, Benny. Okay, I see Chris is backstage. Do you want, and he went back to the audience. Do you want to come up stage, Chris, or you're good?
Hey, hey everybody. Just make sure that's coming out right. Okay, there we go. Sorry I'm late. I was actually running a stress test on the network. We went up to I think like 4,000 or 5,000 transactions per second. So that was fun. So Benny, great job on explaining why Voi. Thank you for there. But yeah, so not really much to report on our side, or my side at least. I'm actually extremely happy with how everything's been going since the last time we met. A lot of things are moving. Benny, did you talk about the surprise wallet that we're going to have soon?
Not yet. All I've done is just stolen your thunder on the introduction. That's all I've done.
That's all right. You did it well. Never again.
I'm just a fill-in, just in case.
I appreciate it. But one of the things that Benny did great on is working with a past acquaintance friend, and he asked him long time ago, months ago, is like, hey, we need a wallet. Do you want to work on it? And really kind of went dark for a long time. And then last week, out of the blue, he's like, oh, by the way, I built that wallet. So like I said, it was like out of the blue, found out we have a new wallet and it's actually pretty close to being finished. Obviously we need to QA it and test it all that. And Benny, if you want to give the more information on that, it would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I just put a link in the chat. But obviously this isn't fully released yet. Basically the developer is a good friend of mine called Kieran. And I used to work with him at a previous company. Really great guy, even better developer somehow. And he's, like Chris said, just been working on this kind of in the background for probably since the beginning of the year, more or less. And I'm happy to say that he's kind of in the final stages to try and get this over the line. Either today or tomorrow, he wants to try and get it up onto the App Store or the Chrome Store even. So he's just going through the process of, dotting all the I's and crossing the T's to go through that review process with them. But obviously this will work on Algorand as well as Voy. But it's really, really cool because not only is it just a browser extension wallet, it also has another of, some really, really cool bonus features, if you will. One of which is the arbitrary signing of data, which you probably might have seen that Para just released an announcement, literally just implementing the same thing. But Kieran's been working on this for, before they even had, to be honest. And it was something we really wanted to see happen because it's a great way to actually verify that somebody owns a wallet without actually having to write any transactions, or, spend any native tokens to do so. And additionally, it can scan QR codes from within the browser as well. So it makes it easier to basically connect up to Wallet Connect and all those kind of things. But yeah, I think just keep an eye out. And all I would really say is the moment you see it, download it and test it out. I think what will be really great is for people to essentially be part of that QA process and really just give Kieran feedback more so than anything. I think there's always this earnest sometimes to release things once it's all polished and ready, but there's this sort of age-old saying that if you're not embarrassed by what you release, you've released it too late. So been hopefully getting Kieran to do that, and bear with any bugs or if it doesn't look great or it's maybe not working the best on some different browsers. Don't worry about it. Kieran wants to get it out there so that you guys can give feedback and basically work on the features that are actually desirable by not only yourselves, but the wider community. And of course, we'll be implementing ARC 272 into it as well. So yeah, exciting times.
Now that's Gov just gave everybody VIA last night in the middle of the night for no Yeah, he just made it rain on everybody. That was pretty funny witnessing that. I was playing the Monday Night Womp Crew Voy game, and I was extremely distracted because Gov messaged me. He's like, hey, I'm going to give away 1 million, or he's actually saying, I'm giving away hundreds, thousands of VIA right now in the Discord. I'm like, okay, well, then I started playing very poorly in the poker game. But that was a lot of fun. So yeah, speaking of, like, VIA is out. Both of the Discord bots, Easy Tiger and Bo, have spent time implementing VIA into their bots so that you can play games with them now, and you can also tip people or send it through their bots. It works a little different. Take this time to actually explain how ARC 200 works. One of the really cool features of ARC 200 that traditional standard assets don't have is the ability to approve another wallet to spend out of your wallet. So how the Algo Leaks tip bot works is you don't actually transfer your VIA to their bots. You just approve a certain amount that they spend, and then they can spend up to that amount. So don't transfer your VIA to the bot, just approve it. And that's really cool ways like you don't forget that those tokens are there because they're still in your wallet. They just give permission over a certain amount. So if you want to use it, you should. If you have any questions, please ask. Don't ape into it. Don't drop 1 million VIA into it and then find out why doesn't it work, Gov. Anyway, that's kind of the exciting things that's happened recently. Talking about a couple other things. Speaking of the VIA, if you haven't confirmed that you received the 1 VOI from Shanti, she hasn't sent you your VIA. So if you want it, you should confirm that you received that VOI. If not, I'll take it or Gov will, and he'll just give it to everybody. If that's what you want, that's fine too. Really exciting thing coming. We love you all. Everything our community is everything to us. And one of the things that we want to do is do a Friendsgiving starting next week. We don't have the date picked yet, right, Shanti?
We don't have the date, but we had discussed potentially a week from the real Thanksgiving, so next Thursday. But I think maybe like after this call, if you can post in the chat what days.
Yeah, and this is like a casual get together where we can get together, relax, pretend we're humans with each other and not just degens. We're going to be doing a big poker game. So far the pots have been around like 150,000 VOI. I believe this poker game is going to be a 1 million VIA pot. So it's a huge pot. So if you don't know how to learn play poker, learn how to play before next week, because that's going to be it's a big pot. And also I believe Taco and a couple other people have said that they would add to the pot as well. So it's going to be a fun poker game to play. So do that. And then, we'll probably do things like play video games or, just talk or do something that sort. Just my main thing is like, we want really say we appreciate you. We'll probably just do giveaways too. Who knows what we're going to do. But we're going to be planning that and get that out to you. Other thing to actually make sure that is the virtual hack is coming. This is a hackathon, and the directive that I've given to actually Shanti is less about marketing and getting the word out to get more developers. Yes, any developer has the ability to come out, and more about catering to the ones we currently have. So one of the really important things is like there's a bunch of developers in the governance committee and the existing community that have done some great things. I personally believe that if we all decide that we're going to spend a weekend and just crush out the things that we need, we would be able to actually to create tons of things in the open source and allow people to take over and run with it. And I think it'd be really fun too. So she sent out a survey to say, hey, when you're available? When can you actually do it? Please be honest with it, and please join it. Please be participate in it, because there are some missing pieces. One of the things I found out as of today that we're going to need, that I thought we were going to have, but it turns out we're not, is a analytics platform for the token wars. So I think this is something that we like. That's I will put up as a bounty there's going to be a bounty that goes up for it, but also I think this could be a good hackathon project that we could at least figure out like a MVP of it, so that people can see the analytics of the different tokens that are flying around. So that'd be another good thing to actually do with that. But or if you know of any developer out there that would like to build an analytics platform, really take advantage of the ability to be the first one, the one that people can become familiar with and used. I think there's a huge opportunity here. I think that's there will be more that come in the mainnet, but I think there's a huge opportunity to be the go-to, especially during token wars with all the new people coming in. So I think that's really exciting there. That is everything on my part. Shanti, back to you. Or actually pause. Does anybody in the committee want to actually come up and talk and ask questions about it, or You can grab the mic or come on stage, up to you.
I was wondering about Algo Scout. That seems like they're already involved with a little bit of tracking token movement. I think that'd be a conversation I could have, or if the core already has a ongoing conversation with them.
Algo Scouts. I mean, I've talked to, I forget who the person behind Algo Scout is. I've talked to them several times, but not for a while. I talked to the developer behind Algo Scan, right? Algo Stats. No, ASA Stats. That's what it is. Ipalaco. And he's looking into see if he can do it or not. But nobody's confirmed. Yes, we can do this. So if you know somebody, ask. Shake them down. Twist their arm, whatever it takes. Anything else? Awesome. Who's excited for Friendsgiving?
I never had a Thanksgiving, so be
Yeah,
interesting.
it'll be Benny's first one.
He's like, all right, well, back to you, Shanti.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's move on to proposals. And IRL, I think you can come up. She will be reviewing Scotty's organizational services.
Let me just quick get these links put in the chat for y'all. All right, so that is the link for the proposal. And then here is the DD. Turn my camera on so I'm talking to you guys. Okay, so I am presenting the proposal that was submitted by Wilder. The title is Scotty's Organizational Services. It was originally submitted on 10/29. The total overall token request is 24 million testnet tokens, basically for the purpose of paying Scotty for his services. So I'm assuming most of the council knows, but for anybody outside looking in, Scotty's like the go-to for the grants council now. In my opinion, he's been instrumental in making the council work effectively and efficiently. So I was more than happy to volunteer to advocate for this and do the due diligence on it. I did sit down and reviewed all of the first round eval comments with both Scotty and Wilder. I found it interesting and worth noting that Scotty, this proposal was submitted by Wilder on Scotty's behalf, but he wasn't really, how did he phrase that? I wrote this proposal without the input of Scotty or other council members. So first off, thank you, Wilder, for taking the initiative. Like I said, I think what Scotty does is critical. On top of some of the weekly tasks outlined, just being available for questions and things has really been, like I said, instrumental for me feeling like I'm staying on top of it personally. But also I feel like there's definitely some metrics that we could look at, like response rates, people attending meetings, things like that, that with Scotty's help, we've really been able to iron out. So I don't think we need to go into a ton of detail. I'd like to open it up for questions. If any council members have questions on why they think a vote yes would be appropriate. I'm of the opinion myself that this is a necessary thing to pass. So, I don't foresee any problems with it. I think Scotty's been incredibly effective. He seems to have a handle on it. I think my first round eval was like, it might not be enough. But I think the amount is equivalent to basically doing a DD, in-depth DD every week as a council member. So yeah, I don't see a reason to not do this. I did go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Wilder did update and kind of flesh out some of the proposals. So I encourage everybody to review it prior to voting if you're unsure. But I don't see a reason not to vote this through. I find it incredibly valuable. It's a necessity for me to do my job effectively, is having somebody to contact. I'll open it up for questions. So if anybody has any. Yeah, this feels like it could be a unanimous vote yes, in my opinion.
I personally would vote yes, but I don't have a vote.
Thanks again to Wilder for submitting the proposal, and for Scotty, everything he does to keep us on track, but I appreciate the time, guys. Vote yes.
Okay, so it doesn't look like anyone is up, so we will circulate the final and second evaluation after this call. So please take 2 minutes and fill that out. Thanks, IRL. Okay, next we have, so we need DD for Zarmian's token distribution script proposals. So if there's anyone who hasn't done DD yet, it'd be a good time to do that, because we are all, actually not, there's not too many proposals right now that are in the pipeline. So if you haven't had an opportunity to do I don't know, Shelly, are you like raising your hand to volunteer? Okay, I think he is. Okay. So yes, this is all you. Thank you. Put it down.
When you are doing the DD on it, feel free to reach out to myself, because I've been using it every week.
Yeah, this should be a pretty easy one because it's one that's already been done. This is just more for getting rewarded for the work he already did. So.
Awesome, thank you. Next, we're moving to the member open floor. Before we do that, is there does anyone have anything to say about proposals? Questions, comments? Again, the hack will be a way for us to help fill out, get completed some of those pending bounties. So if you do have people that are not part of this council, in the Algorand community and the rest of the VoIP community, this is a good way. This would be a good opportunity to bring them on board.
This is actually one thing kind of related to the hackathon. There are people in the Algorand community that are great developers that I don't have a direct connection to. I think this would be actually a great, if we could ask your help to reach out to existing developers that might not be part of the VoIP community, but have experience building on Algorand, because I think it'd be fun for them as well. So if you know some developers, you should reach out to them. Wilder.
You're mute.
I actually reached out just before this meeting to Headline, so I'm doing my part. I'm definitely trying to ramp up the amount of proposals we get. So I'm doing my part for sure. And to segue into the open floor, we have three main things to talk about. From my perspective, one's the tier-based rewards. The other's vice chairs and sort of what this role is. And the most important thing, in my opinion, the block rewards. We touched on it near the end, but we kind of ran over time. So I'd like to actually start with that to make sure we do give it the time, and then I'll cover the last two aspects near the end. So Lobo, if you didn't get a chance, and I'll share the document now, he made an Excel spreadsheet where he went over calculations and gave us a great breakdown of what's currently going on, because he does understand the numbers as well as anyone. So just give me a moment here to share the link. Okay, I think that's, yeah, node incentives voice. So you should see that in the meeting chat. And I can speak on behalf of Lobo if you'd like, but he went through the rewards and found just the huge skew for people who join late based on the amount of blocks they're able to propose and their percentage stake relative to others. And he kind of battles with the two perspectives of, yes, we wanted to incentivize early adopters, and yes, we have exceeded our target and our goal, but the other side of it is we base this off of what council members make, and now that kind of balance has shifted where council members are in VIA earning proportionally a lot more than I think was originally anticipated compared to people running nodes. But I would definitely encourage you to read the document, because he goes through a lot of numbers and a lot of wallets to break it down. But the final ideas that he comes to is doing VIA rewards retroactively for long-term participants, which I think is an exciting idea that requires more work. He has 6 of them in total. The idea of doing a flat double, which we talked about, less nuanced, certainly isn't the best approach. In his opinion, he doesn't go into much detail more about it. I think we've talked it to death a little bit about the flat doubling. It helps a little bit, but it's not necessarily a final solution where we don't have to revisit it. So based on what I've seen in this document, he's kind of presented the problem, but this needs to go into the proposal or some form of a stage where we can unanimously agree on a change, implement it, and move on from this. So I'm thinking this will probably be the topic of the meeting next week, where instead of I do tier-based proposals this week, I'll be going over this with Lobo in the next week and trying to push something forward in the format where we talk about a plan, we once again open floor discuss, we make amendments, we share them in gov discussion, and then the people in the chair or the committee vote to push it through and make that decision. So it would be an expedited push through, and that we could see that happening within 2 weeks from now. So does anybody, we have someone on the open floor, sorry, I haven't even, Lobo, sorry, please talk.
No problem. Thanks for going through it. So just in general, I added, like Wilder said, some ideas at the end. I'm not super satisfied with them, but I thought maybe it helps, like reading some ideas, and then you can come up with, I know a better idea it's somehow like this, but better. So maybe give it a read. In general, I have also a section like notes and constraints. So like, which talks about the problems we have to deal with kind of when designing now block rewards. So that we have this problem, like we can't really enforce 2 nodes per person at the moment. So if we had, for example, like an application-based system for node rewards, which would be way harder for new people to come then on and to get them, but would help here, for example. But just in general, some constraints, I mentioned them. And I think, like, for example, the VIA rewards for what that Weiler mentioned for the early node runners. So if we want to double things, I thought about doubling also the rewards we already gave out, and maybe we just give them out in VIA. And this also has the benefit that people can test VIA a bit more. So like a lot more people will have VIA, and so we can test it more. Yeah, so just in general, if you have any questions about the document, let me know.
I like that idea, Lobo, especially the VIA one. But one of the requests I would have is there possible that we could, in your research and this proposal, would wrap in relay rewards as well? If we're increasing the participation rewards, we 100% should increase the relay rewards as well, because the relay rewards were based off of the participation rewards. So rather than doing 2 completely different proposals, tying them into one, I think would make sense.
Surely we can do this. I had in mind, like you talked about, you will talk to people first about getting them on to relays, onto running relays, but we also probably can just plug this whole relay thing also in one proposal here.
And it would make sense to do. And so I did reopen the relay spreadsheet, the relay form, and we are getting people, but they are all submitting underpowered servers and don't really want, like, I'm assuming that the rewards aren't enough to really entice people to actually do regular full powered relays. So it'd be great.
Okay. Then maybe a question, because that's a general thing. I added a point today, and I thought about what if we would give out health rewards, or in general maybe rewards, only after application starting now. So like all the older node runners, okay, they still get their rewards. But if we change stuff now, and for example, if we would change like health rewards and they would get more, then this would directly incentivize cheating, kinda, because okay, then maybe I have a data center at home and I can run like 10 nodes of it, and I get now more health rewards, and that means, yeah, let's make Voi. So would you be open to like application for like node rewards, or do you want to keep it simple from the perspective of like that people can just start?
I like the ability to. There's 4 or 5 of us in the core team, and we are all extremely busy. Adding any extra like paperwork checking things it's possible, but that means something else has to be dropped. So anything that adds more complication and more work on our part to actually check these applications and approve them, it ends up being a lot more of a heavy lift than what it might sound like. Just check the actual form. I feel that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, good point. Actually didn't think about the work it would really add to look into these forms then. Good point.
Yeah. That's why we actually still do the faucet, even though it is potentially gameable, is that we have decided that the potential gaming of it is worth the less work of doing something much more rigorous. That being said, if somebody else wants to do it.
We'll definitely go into that topic as like one of our concerns for the due diligence on this next week. Ideally, we can find solutions that aren't adding a larger workload, but I'm sure with Lobo's collaboration and anyone else who wants to, I'm going to try to have all the meetings in public spaces so anyone can join into an open office and be involved in it. Based on just what I've been seeing in the chat here as well, it seems like there was a positive reception to VIA when that was mentioned. So I think that's definitely going to be what you're likely to see in that document. But I'll share it as well so you can follow along with as it's being edited, and please add your comments to it. It will also be in the Discord proposal area. I have got feedback that people are not happy with how much stuff's going in Gov discussion versus proposal. And now that things have slowed down, we're going to move some of the things like the COOP proposal, for example. That's going to make its way over into the proposal area once it's being revised, as well as what Andrew shared after we hash it out today. And what we do with Lobo, even if the chairs are voting on it, I still want it to go through there, because I think for people who aren't in the council, they're probably not checking Gov discussion as much, and that forum is a nice, I think the agreed upon place to put it. So just trying to keep things structured so we don't lose our organization that TD put a lot of work into, and everyone else as well. So I'll move on from that and go into the tier-based proposals. So it was shared in the email. All I've done recently is put in numbers and talk to both Andrew and Zyphoid about what numbers make sense, as well as taking in Chris's feedback, even though this is a testnet council, just trying to think of percentages to apply to it or looking forward and sort of framing the numbers that we came to. So if you open the document, I'll share it here in the chat again. This is like a government or a governance change, if you will. We're not asking for tokens here, but we're fundamentally changing the way that they're going to be given out to people who complete proposals, as well as council members who complete due diligence. So to start at the top and go down, tier 1, we have proposals that are greater than 25 million VIA. We came to that number based on the current proposals that we have, and the only one we have right now is EXA, where people who did due diligence and the consensus was controversial, but would have passed. So I definitely want to get feedback in this meeting. This is an open discussion. These aren't finalized numbers. That's why we're talking about it now, but I'm just giving you the rationale for why we chose it. And thinking of an annual budget, I've broken the 3.2 billion that we have over the testnet period, which I know fluctuates, but that number was thrown around in the beginning. If we chunked it up into 3 sections, we have a little bit over $1 billion. So I've come up with like 2.5% to 5%. So that means that councils would be convening to do due diligence between 40 and 20 times, which I think is quite involved as far as a council goes. And it wouldn't mean that you wouldn't have a first. This is times when you'd have a second eval vote. So it's essentially double voting on proposals. That's tier 1, the Humble, the Block Explorer, all the bigger proposals. We would still be going through that process. One change on the way that the payout happens, as well as the DD people being paid, is the idea to switch from sharing the 700K for doing due diligence to making it a flat amount for each council member involved in the due diligence. There's been a trend of 2 to 3 people taking on these larger projects where you need the technical people, and they're getting less rewards than someone like myself who does a very low technical bounty for a much smaller amount of via, and in proportion getting a lot more rewards. So that is being balanced by making anything in the tier 2 proposal staying the same, and the tier 1 not having due diligence at all, which should cut down on emissions, and I'm hoping will balance out, but we'll see. I got a little ahead of myself there with the tier 1, but the tier 1 is just like what we do now. It's all stages, everything we're used to. I talked about how the payout's different, I talked about how the council payout's different, how the project payout is different. Is right now it's up to the core team or the due diligence person to come back and say, yes, give the tokens away. And it wasn't really formalized. It was just something that was put together after proposals were starting to pass. What's been proposed is that we pay out 75% of the value after the DD team approves, and we reserve 25% for a follow-up. And this is within the testnet phase, but that idea that not 100% of the value is getting given out as soon as they meet the milestone, that 25% is being reserved for some level of maintenance, so that there is some lifetime to the proposal, the application, whatever the end product is. This wouldn't be retroactive. This is on a go forward basis. I didn't want to go back, and I know some projects have already been paid, so this would be on anything going forward, but that handled concerns about people who were looking for large value proposals and wanting to ensure that they have some lifetime to them. I think holding back a certain percentage of the bounty makes sense and hopefully won't discourage participation. And please step to the open mic. If I see you step up there, I'll treat that like a raised hand, and then you can jump in and comment. So that's tier 1. Tier 2 is removing the second eval stage and leaving it up to the due diligence team to decide on the second stage eval. So they'll still do amendments, but they'll be the ones having the vote. That would be for anything between 2 mil and 25 mil tokens. And in the situation where there's a split vote, that would be a situation where someone in the chair position could come in and break that tie. Same thing applies as the earlier one, 75% upon completing the project and 25% reserved post completion. And in both cases, if things fall through the cracks and the people who are doing due diligence aren't able to follow up, these will be things that are handled by the chair to ensure that things aren't falling through the cracks. I don't want to try to add on this extra level of responsibility where you're, just because you're doing due diligence, you're concerned about having to go back and collect feedback or to ensure that it's still working. So ideally, a council member can handle this, but I expect that people in the chair role will be handling this final checkup to make sure that council members aren't taking on additional work. I think that what kind of time frame? I think that is a little bit flexible, but it would be obviously it's capped at the end of the testnet phase. But in reality, I think it's largest I saw was a 3-month, which I think is a little too large considering our testnet phase. I think max that's 2 months, but I will have a specific number in there between. I'm thinking closer to 1 month, but please correct me if you think I'm wrong there for the second payout. Maybe 2 or 3 months makes more sense, but I think later we get so sort of balance out at the end of the testnet. That'll definitely be the end to it, but please comment if you have a strong feeling about this. I definitely think it should be in the months, not the weeks for the checkup. Then again, like we don't want something failing after 1 month, so maybe it should be in 2 or 3 to make sure we're getting our money's worth for a functional application. And I think that will also we can also set that as a consideration for future proposals. If people's due dates as we get closer to the end of testnet or the perceived end of testnet, I think we should be thinking about when they're actually saying they're going to be arriving to market. So we actually do have time for them to use the application before it goes into mainnet, because we're only dealing with testnet rewards. Okay. Final thing, tier 3. Oh, sorry, I have someone's coming up. IRL, please speak.
I just was wondering if that would complicate the trade-in or however that works from end of testnet to mainnet, was like my thought behind the balancing out questions. You know what I mean? So like at the end of the testnet, there'll be some way to like trade, like holding it beyond that initial trade-in, if that makes sense. I don't know. I was just trying to explain my question a little bit more.
No, there won't be any type of especially because of regulations, you will not be able to convert your testnet token for a mainnet token. They're completely separate things. And so no, there will be no worry about that.
I hope that answers it. And I think the way that I will word this in the proposal is by specifying a minimum, and then we can act at that time, or if we feel like we should wait longer, we can delay that to do that second review. But definitely a commitment to have it done in the testnet period, so people aren't getting testnet via after the fact. And the final tier, tier 3, is less than 2 million. And this is community review, comment, amendment, and then community vote. So here it has community vote. We don't have a community voting mechanism, but we do have a council voting mechanism right now. And I will touch on this later. So the way that I see tier 3 working is it's the first eval stage. We have no due diligence. This is where I was saying there'd be less emissions in that sense. And this would be, I haven't put a cap on this for the amount of applications just due to the low amount we have right now, even though it was a comment. And Chris, you can speak to that if you have some ideas on a cap. But I think this would be something that's between like 0.5% to 1% of an annual budget would be going towards these tier 3 size proposals. And the lower range was used by using the hackathon lowest prize. This is things that are under the lowest prize for the hackathon. So I think there's potential for things that are in the hackathon that maybe aren't finalists could come here and apply for this tier 3 level. So more of like MVP products, I think, is my mindset for what tier 3 is. And then more of like a medium range would be what Bose made or Easy Tigers made. That's kind of the mid tier. And then EXA is kind of right on that line, but sort of EXA and above is what's that tier 1 process we're all familiar with. So that was really long-winded. I kind of went through the whole document, so you didn't have to read it if you didn't go over it. But there's a lot of quality comments. Should we be tracking successful proposals for reputation? I talked to Scotty about this. We'll definitely be able to keep track of the stat. It's just one more thing to add to Excel. And it will be valuable to have a list of sort of reputable developers for who's done what, and an easier way to look at that. We're currently not tracking it in that way. The question about multiple follow-ups was raised before I included the idea of specifically how funds were dispersed. I think it makes a lot of sense now, considering that there's monetary value attached to it, to have the follow-ups and to have a commitment to have a functioning app and value what the community, like if the community is not liking your app and you've gone to mainnet with it, and we are not obligated to give you the final 25% if you deliver something horrible that's sort of under delivered based on just reaching your milestone goal or what was written out. So that's my perspective with it personally. Sorry if I said monetary value. Via everything's in Via. I'm just that's the perspective of it. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. The next point was making this document trim or having less words in it. I know this one is wordy, but I think this is a process that is only covered by Benny and his other document, and it is wordy, but I think it doesn't leave much for interpretation, and I think that's the goal with this, that we have some structure. So I definitely I'll definitely try to keep things concise so things are easier to read, but I think this one had to be a bit wordier. Yeah, ChatGPT summaries are excellent, especially with the new word limit, so have at it. I touched on what the chair would do. I was just looking at any influence we had would just be in a tie-break situation or catching things that fall through the crack. We wouldn't have additional control outside of that. I know the role hasn't been really well defined yet. So on the note of community feedback, we currently don't have a decentralized way of getting community feedback. Like, I guess we have Twitter or we have X and other tools, but we don't have anything on chain to gather feedback. So what I'm wanting to do is write a bounty for some form of a voting mechanism where people are using their wallet to have a say in something. I'm gonna write this out myself and drop it in the proposal channel, but I do like the idea of collecting community feedback, and I think if we can collect community feedback on proposals that pass, it'll save us time for doing our second review, and I think that's something that developers can point to and say, it's not just your opinion, this is what the community has to say about it as well. So I just wanted to touch on involving the community aspect of it. And do people have questions about the holding percentages back? The DD Lobo, please.
Okay, I made some things while you were talking. Okay, so tier 1 is like 75% will be dispersed, it seems like. I feel like since it could be like 100, 200 million Via something, I feel like max or 50% might be better, especially if we talk about mainnet. I don't think you would like to give out more than 50% on mainnet. I don't know how grants work, but I would assume that not like 75% is immediately dispersed.
The guidance I gave and the thought I had was it would be 2.5 to 5% of the annual. So certainly quite a bit. I think my grounding was primarily in the testnet. I was not thinking about mainnet when I came to these numbers. That being said, 25 is the upper range. So I think between 10 and 15 million was the initial amount put there. And the reasoning to go higher was just to streamline or make us more efficient. It's just that much less work that the council has to do. So I'm definitely not against bringing the number down. I went with the highest number that I was comfortable with. So if other people feel that way, please.
I was just thinking, okay, if I now have only one vote, I would rather vote no, maybe, in some cases. And so what would happen is I would vote no, and maybe the proposal gets rejected. They have to reapply, and then we vote again. So suddenly we again have a second vote. So I would be personally more cautious with voting yes. And so my idea was maybe bring it down a bit, because I feel like 25 million is quite a bit. So that would be my comment. And I feel like if you want to go with such a thing, maybe have like some kind of, I don't really want to call it veto system, but I put in time and make some comments, and maybe the idea overlooks them or doesn't get the real answer, and then it still goes through, or the idea would decide, okay, yes. I feel like it should have there should be some kind of system where I can say, hey, my comment, what's about that? Maybe we can have a talk. We can talk during the meeting or in any other way. And for tier 3, so yeah, like who's the community? Because if we would allow just like Discord users, then welcome bots. So maybe we can use, like, there are Discord verification systems for like NFTs and stuff, and maybe some of those people would be able to just change it to, is this wallet a node runner or not? And if it is, it links it to the Discord name, and then this person can vote. And we would probably have to do it like, you are only accepted as a node runner if you're running a node with this wallet alone. So it's not like 20 wallets suddenly stake on one node, and then they are all node runners, because then again, like bots. But if we have like one wallet per node, then this could work. Yeah, an idea.
I definitely think that node idea will be reflected in the community vote proposal I'll make, and I'll definitely consult you with that as well. As far as the numbers go, I'm definitely seeing that there's sentiment to bring down the max amount. So us doing more tier 1 proposals, which 15 million was kind of the initial compromise that we found, above 10 million. So I'm going to change that to 15 million. Please check the notes. I don't want to push this through if people are still not happy with it, but I would like to finalize this before we have our next meeting. So please do weigh in on the document. All questions will be answered, and comments will be responded to. Check the notes as well. Let's see if your question's been answered. We have 7 minutes left. I'll also make myself available to do a tier-based proposal discussion, and I'll join Cody for an open office session, and I'll share that in Gov discussion. If people want to talk to me more as well, please just at me if you want to talk about this. I want to make sure everyone's involved. And without further ado, let me, first of all, if Chris, you want to talk about anything on this as far as numbers.
So before we move on from this topic, I'd just like to say that generally I do agree with one address, one node. I do have some specific examples where I'd allow for exemptions to be applied for, basically, and approved. So my specific use case that might probably apply to Shelly as well is that I have 2 nodes running, and I'm working on a delegated VOI token, which will also be participating in consensus with VOI balance that users will be depositing into a smart contract. Because that could potentially gather quite a lot of VOI to participate, I'm going to participating from both of my nodes with that account, as well as my personal accounts. I also know that Shelly is working on enabling liquidity pools to also go online with their stake of VOI, which will also probably not be a single address, a single node per each liquidity pool address. So while a general rule would apply here, being able to say, hey, look, I actually have a use case for having more than one address per node would be good. And also, I've discussed on Discord about specifying a blacklist for health rewards, because in this instance, like, the escrow account should probably not receive health rewards, but rather the actual node runner's account. So it would be good to allow for some flexibility there.
Thank you for raising that, and I'll definitely tap you as well as Lobo when we're working on this. And then I was able to talk to Andrew and Zyphoid both this week. They both made compelling arguments for why they would be great additions to the chair role. I know it was raised, why not 1+1? Personally, I like the idea of having an odd number in case we're disagreeing. And I've worked with both these people in the past in some capacity. I've met both of them. I'm very happy to share the role with them, and I can personally vouch for them. That being said, I want what everyone here wants. So if you think that's too many people or are concerned about us sharing that that power together, if you will, please say something now. My perspective is the more people who are willing to contribute, the better in this situation, and it's definitely a more involved role. So right now, the expectation is a minimum of an additional 4 hours you're spending a week just in a call between everybody, as well as drafting documents and reviewing additional documents. That's all. Andrew, I'm giving you very little time. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here with some Humble related stuff. But yeah, so honestly, Wilder, I missed part of what you said here, but I just do want to jump in and say I think that this is a good idea to get started, to get the responsibility off of the foundation and really put it into the community's hands. I think 2 vice chairs is actually, or maybe there'd be different positions, but I think as this, whatever you want to call it, subcommittee, board of directors, what do you want to call it, I think this is actually really small compared to where we would eventually like to go. I mean, I think that 3 people, you can look at any team size for any blockchain, and it's a lot of work. So I think that this is a pretty fair, a fair beginning size. It gets us to do a lot of this, core beginning stuff that we need to get done. This, this infrastructure that we want set up, and it will allow us to, feel the ins and outs for mainnet, and then hopefully have a framework for mainnet, which will be important. So, any concerns, whatever like that, obviously feel free to reach out to me or Zyford or Wilder. But that's just, my thoughts. So.
Thank you, Andrew. And let's talk about the. Andrew made a document. As I said, we're going to move that into the proposal area so we can treat it as such now that things are winding down a little bit with the rest of our proposals. I'll also make sure that any of these chair, whatever we're going to call this, we'll find a name for it as well. But any of these meetings are going to be transparent, public. People can join in. Nothing's going to be private here, and we'll find a way to communicate it effectively. Maybe the same way that Cody communicates his open office hours, we can do the same thing where we're discussing, but it's open for people to join in, and that's community and council alike. So yeah, and then please, I'd prefer it if you message and send the messages through me so I can work with Andrew and Zyphoid. But if everyone here is happy with 3 of us, then just like myself, they're open to your comments, concerns, and working on your behalf.
Well, Shanti, the next thing on the agenda is a goodbye. Thank you for everything.
Bye. I think if 3 people works for all of you, then that's great, unless anyone has any objections. But thank you for figuring that out. So yeah, that's it for today. Do you have any closing remarks? Otherwise, we'd love if you can post in the general channel what day you prefer for Friendsgiving. It'll probably be in the evening.
Yeah, in the U.S. evening.
Mm-hmm.
For the people that are in Europe and around the world. I just thank you once again. I really do appreciate your hard work. All of you are going above and beyond. Thank you so much. And I can tell that you're giving the most of it. So you're great. One of the things that's along with me asking Lobo to rethink about the relays, we're actually rethinking how we reward the relays. No, not the quantity, but the how the how that goes out, just because to actually make it fair, some relays are in some areas are much cheaper than others. So we want to make sure that we take it, take that into consideration. But overall, I think this is going to be a fun week for you participation node runners, because we're going to be stress testing this week and next week and starting now because of that. And we already started running, and the relay nodes actually stood up pretty well. I'm pretty happy. I have no idea how the participation nodes handle it, so we'll find out there. But thank you so much for everybody, and I will see you in the Discord chat.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye.